Shooting locations, arguably one of the most important things when it comes to doing a shoot. I feel like a lot of people forget about this. Sometimes they get too caught up in the idea and concepts and forget about the location. So today I'm going to tell you how I personally find my photo shoot locations, even if I'm traveling halfway across the world for the first time. For those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Daniel. I'm a 22-year-old photographer based in Thailand. However, I am currently not in Thailand. I'm actually in Canada visiting some family. Last week I was in Japan and I visited Japan and Canada for the first time. I only stayed there for 4 days, so it was quite a short stay, but I knew, or anyone who's into photography knows, that Japan is an absolutely epic place and that you have to go there to take some photos. So never having been to Japan before, I knew that I had to do my research and plan my trip well if I wanted to make the most of it. So before even starting to look for locations, I think it's very important to think about what it is you want from a location. For example, the goal that I had for Japan was, I'm only there for a few days, I'm staying in Tokyo, I'm not really going to travel outside of Tokyo, so I knew I need to visit all of the most iconic spots within Tokyo, and I want to get those travel-esque kind of tourist attraction photos. I want to go to some places where I take a picture and someone sees it and they said, oh, that's Japan, that's Tokyo, it's a very iconic place, I know where it is. So from the beginning, I already knew that I want to visit places, or I want locations that are very, very travel-esque and iconic to Tokyo, Japan. So the first method that I used was this thing right here, which was basically looking at social media for other photographers for inspiration. Some examples of that would be Instagram, looking at location tags for Japan, Tokyo, or looking for hashtags. For example, it could be like travel Japan or travel photography Japan, photographer Japan, or something like that. Theme pages as well are a great way to find photo shoot locations, because Instagram, as we know it, is a photography, or was a photography orientated platform. There's a lot of photographers on there and theme pages that are related to photography. For example, a great page that I found was Discover Tokyo, which is all about people sharing their photos from Tokyo. So I can go onto that page, have a look, and already see like, okay, yeah, I like this location, I like this location, I like this location. And it's not really the same as if someone were to go there and take a photo on their smartphone from just some random point on the street or something like that. You're going to be seeing a lot of work and inspiration from people who are photographers, who think and probably behave the same way you do. You can also look for social media groups or forums, specifically places like Facebook. For example, you could look at Japan expats, or like Japan photographers or Japan photography, visit Japan and stuff like that, and ask around, or just browse through the groups, because there are people who will be sharing their content or sharing tips and tricks. You can ask other people for help or questions, and it's always a great way to get ideas and inspiration specifically from people because they have first-hand experience. YouTube is also a great way to find other locations. I would literally go on YouTube and search Japan photography locations, Tokyo photography locations. I would look for photographers who have been to Japan or photographers who are based in Japan and look at their vlogs, photo shoots, and whatnot. Usually they would mention the place they're shooting at, and you can grab inspiration and ideas and actually figure out exactly where it is they went in those videos, and that's great. That's why I love YouTube. There's just so much information on this platform. And sorry if it's a little bit loud with the birds as well. There is quite a bit of wildlife here in Canada. So that first method is really great to kind of figure out and get an idea of the different types of opportunities and different type of places you will be able to see. But for example, if you're staying somewhere a bit longer term, like me, I'm going to be staying here for a month, so I'm not really stressed out about having to go every single day and be super quick about my locations. Or if you're looking for places in your hometown or something like that, somewhere where you're going to be a bit more permanently, then the second method works great as well. And that second method is to ask around and explore. I've only been in Canada for a short while, but I've already got some amazing photos that I'm really, really happy with. These were courtesy of asking my aunt and uncle where some nice places were, and they showed me around. You can ask your family, you can ask friends, you can ask other photographers in the local area or community. This is a great way just to ask. I know it's kind of a sub point from the first method, but this is more so asking people that you know, people that are here, people that are locals. And while on the way to these places, I was always keeping an eye out, looking outside the car to see, is there anything else that looks interesting? Could I maybe shoot there? I do this for pretty much anywhere or everywhere I'm going. I will always keep an eye out and look for interesting places or something that looks like it could be worth revisiting and going back and checking out and trying to do a photo shoot there or a video shoot. It saves you a bit of time because you don't really have to dedicate yourself to finding specific locations. You can always stumble across it while you're on the way to somewhere else, which is really great. Another thing you can do is also dedicating specific days to location scouting. I know that it sounds a little bit boring and it sounds a little bit tedious, but plan it together or kind of disguise it as a hangout session with a friends, and maybe you guys go on like a little road trip or something like that, or you guys go like cafe hopping or bar hopping or something like that. But you want to dedicate time then, if you can't find locations, to actually saying, hey, I've got to go out and find locations, or I got to build a list of locations. You might have to look online for stuff like that, but I think it is very worth it and pays off in the long run, having a nice big list of places you can go and this kind of catalog of locations, because in the future, anytime you need to shoot something, or anytime you want to do something, work on a project, you have a paid job and you need to find a nice location, if you've got a list of like 50 or 60 locations, there's bound to be something that matches the kind of aesthetic or the scope of work that you need. So it's always great to have a big nice catalog of places. Dedicating time to honing and creating a nice library is 100% worth it in the long run. And the third and final method is spending a bit of time on the computer and looking at websites such as Google Maps, TripAdvisor, and other more travel tourist kind of activity websites. I have found some great photo locations through Google Maps, just looking around and seeing what there is on the map. Also searching some places up on TripAdvisor or other websites that are similar to that. But to be honest, I would kind of leave this method to the last, because you are going to get a lot of random stuff. It's more about touristy things and activities, whereas if you're looking for a photo shoot or a shooting location, then you're more interested in the actual environment and things, whereas Google Maps, websites like TripAdvisor are based more around activities and hotels and everything like that. So it doesn't really work out that well when it comes to shooting, but it definitely has its uses. For example, in Chiang Mai we have a huge coffee culture, so there's a bunch of awesome, wacky, awesome looking insane cafes that people have poured a ton of money into to make super like Instagrammable spots. So if I go on Google Maps and literally search cafe, it's actually one of the most efficient ways for me to look at awesome cafes, because I can just click through every single one, and whenever I see one that's interesting, I save it. It also works really well if you're looking for a hotel room. Maybe you're doing a boudoir shoot, or you want a kind of city view or cityscape from your hotel room, then that's another great way to find awesome hotels. You can also look at the location of things. Maybe you want to get a specific view of a specific landmark or something like that, the Eiffel Tower, Tokyo Tower, or whatever, then you maybe want to consider getting a specific hotel within a certain distance, and you can look at the rooms and whatnot. But those are very, very specific scenarios, so that's why I would kind of rank this a little bit lower, or my least favorable method, because simply it just takes a lot of time and effort. It's actually getting a little bit cold here at night, so I'm going to head inside and warm myself up. But if you have any other tips that you want to share with other people, other photographers or creatives about finding awesome locations, then leave them down in the comment section below. And if this video helped you out at all, then I would definitely appreciate a like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow, and I'll see you guys around.